Hello, Karan. Is that the right way to say your name?
Yes, hi Bante. Hi.
Okay. And hello, Angara. Angara, is that the right way to say your name? Angara?
Yes, it is. Thank you.
Great, great. Hello, Sila and David. Hello, Francie. And Tony. So we'll wait about another 5 minutes before we begin. Hi, Tristan and Keem and Susan and Siraj over on YouTube. Hello, Alex.
Mhm.
Okay, nice to see you, Alex. Thank you for sharing. So, does anyone have any questions or anything like that? Hey there, Kat, before we begin today. Any questions before we begin? Hello, Anushka. And Morgan, hi there. Hello, Steph. Steph and Mariana and Mahir and Lick. Hello, Lick. Great. So just 2 more minutes, giving people time to join in, to show up. And if we're already here, we're in the right space, and a couple more moments to settle in. Hello there, Jaquez. So we really have quite a devoted group of people here to show up every day for our meditation practice and to make this a part of our day that we don't forget, that we prioritize and emphasize, so that we have this extended period of time to focus completely on and fully on refreshing, restarting. That new perspective, that original mind, that open awareness, that non-intellectual foundation of our human experience that is so lively, so present, so healing, so supportive to whatever we wish to do in our lives. So perhaps our day up until now has not been perfect. Great, no problem. we step into this practice as a stepping into the final frontier, the new frontier of experience, of reality. And we do that not through some kind of complicated belief or something that we buy into, but we do it through our application of the original mind, our coming back to this original mind, this ordinary mind. And our tool, our means, our 2 feet on the path in this connecting with the original mind is our meditation method. So there are so many different meditation methods. We don't need to be shy to try out different ways of practice, different meditation methods we can try. But when we try, we want to try from a place of stillness and simplicity and stability. And a good way to find ourselves in that place is to put the body down. To allow the body to be where it is right now. And through focusing on noticing, beginning to notice the breath, the happening of the breath, our awareness can flow into the body so that we begin to be more aware, more directly aware of the experience of having a body, the inside of our body. Following the path of the breath as it flows into the body, and noticing this internal experience. And as we do that, as our attention and awareness is pulled in from all of those outside judgments, responsibilities, obligations, those things that we like, those things that we don't like, as it comes into the body, as the mind comes home to the body, we can accept more and more the body as it is, just sitting here. Not the body as it relates to some story or some idea in our life or in the environment, but the body that is just here, just breathing. And this isn't the same practice as when we wake up and we're so tired that we can't get up and we just go back to sleep, we go back to bed. There's an aliveness, there's a wakefulness in this looking, in this seeing. that is not so conditional, that is not referencing some story about where we are going, where we need to go, where we shouldn't go, but this noticing, this being aware of the body right now. The breath right now. How fully, how completely can we put the body down? That is, the body just sitting here. Not our business, not our problem, not my body, but putting the body down. Allowing the body to simply be here. Putting the body down allows us to focus fully and completely on our meditation method. Whether that's metta, or reciting a mantra, or focusing on the breath, noticing the impermanence of thoughts, that we couldn't keep them, we couldn't hold on to them, we couldn't maintain them. No matter how big the thought is, no matter how real the story is, no matter how true it is, that there is a changing quality to it, an impermanence to it that we can take as our meditation method to notice the impermanence of thoughts. But whatever method we're practicing, breathing in deeply, putting the body down. No longer so interested, no longer in such a state of belief about the body and the role that the body plays in me, my, mine, obligations, relationships, self-identifications. The body taking care of itself. But what to do with the mind? The thinking mind, the angry mind, the greedy mind, the delusional mind. Bring the mind home to the body. and put the body down. Putting the body down is to be fully aware of the body as it is right now. Bringing the mind home to the body is to breathe in deeply and allow the mind to settle, to come together with the body. To practice our meditation method, perhaps just breathing and being aware, is to release, relax body and mind.
Dan is de rest jij op Twitter. Met de niet zo dat het heel laat in de weer gaat opmerken.
Every disturbance, every difficulty is simply to restart and refresh, to begin again. Just breathing and being aware and being present to it, being alive and awake. There is no thought, story, belief that can interfere with truth. So, what is this truth? What is this great purpose, great meaningfulness, great healing, great empowerment that we experience by just sitting, just breathing, being aware? Not relying on words and phrases, but to meditate, to contemplate, to be aware with an open heart and a deepened mind. As truth reveals itself, impermanence reveals itself. No self, no real character, no real story reveals itself. There's a kind of peace and satisfaction that we can find in our meditation practice that cannot be found in running on the treadmill of craving. The truth of unsatisfactoriness, of sensuality, of chasing reveals itself. Not intellectually, not something for you to believe in, but to practice, to experience only, to use only. The fullness and the wholeheartedness of this moment. How to reach it, how to practice it. Just breathing and being aware. To restart, to refresh, to know that it is none other than your nature to restart, to refresh. It is not the truth that struggles. It's simply our rejection, our desire, our fear that struggles. So allow that desire, allow that fear to work itself out. Don't get involved. Allow that tension in the body, that stress in the mind to relax, to resolve itself. Just breathing and being aware. As disenchantment perfumes our body and mind, The greatest peace and the greatest wisdom is no other than this normal, ordinary mind. Just breathing and being aware. For now, that's enough. We don't need to burden ourselves with anything else. Don't be shy to show up with yourself, to be with what's happening. Our meditation method is no other than a way, a means to be with what's happening. To do that with a gentleness, with a patience, with a friendliness. Being friendly but uninvolved with the thoughts in our mind. Being friendly but uninvolved with the feelings of the body. Just breathing and being aware. Allow it all to fall apart, to turn to dust. All of these mental structures, allow them to settle and calm. From great, imposing mental structures to a sandy beach where the water of the breath comes and goes naturally and easily. Try to accept the feelings and the experience that you're having right now. Without judgment, without added stress or self-identification, just to notice and be aware of what's happening right now. Fire is not hot. Ice is not cold. It simply appears to be. Disentangling ourselves from appearances, from preferences. What is this? Just breathing and being aware. So at this time, you can start to slowly move your body. Can massage any areas of the body that have been feeling pain. Can massage your face and stretch out. So today is Sunday, and what we will do for the remainder of our Sunday, what is Sunday? But let's see. It says it's Sunday on my computer, so let's go with that. So, being Sunday, we will have for the remainder of this period, we will have a Zen twist. So we'll bring a Zen twist, and then we will have our kind of just like a service, okay, a church service, a Buddhist service. So this is an opportunity to take refuge in the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. And this is also an opportunity to take the 8 precepts. Okay, so to make a day of Sunday to be a kind of practice day, and so that you follow these 8 precepts for as long as you're able to today, and that makes Sunday kind of a spiritual practice day. Even if you're not meditating all day, through following these precepts, you kind of put your mind into a meditative framework for the day, for as much of the day as you can. And in taking refuge with a monk, you can consider that to be formally becoming a Buddhist, but you don't need to do that with a monk. If you take refuge in the Buddha and the Dharma and the Sangha, then you can consider yourself to be a Buddhist. But this is the kind of daily chanting that we have here at the temple in the mornings. So we'll offer that as a kind of Sunday service, and you can participate as much or as little as you like. It can be nice to listen, at least. Okay. So let's have our Zen twist. Seek nothing. The inner view and the outer view are both wrong. The way of Buddhas and the way of demons are both mistaken. If you are subject to these two evils, then you will reject suffering and seek pleasure. So if you hang on to this duality of Buddhas and demons, Buddhas and devils, if you are subject to them, then you will reject suffering and you will seek pleasure. When you awaken to the root, birth and death are essentially empty. Where can Buddhas or demons stay? Where can they abide? When you awaken to the root, the truth, where can Buddhas or demons live? Where can they survive? Where can they abide? Nowhere. They couldn't. So when you awaken to the root, the truth, birth and death are essentially empty. Where can Buddhas or demons stay? It is just because of the discriminations of arbitrary feelings that successive lives are isolated and alienated. So it is just because of the discriminations that we make, good and bad, right and wrong, I should do this, I shouldn't do that, based on arbitrary feelings, based on shallow ideas, based on shallow experience, that successive lives or successive moments of attachments, further moments of conditioned states that you put yourself into because you are acting and reacting according to arbitrary feelings and discriminations that you make based on those of good and bad, right and wrong. It's only because of this that your next moments are isolated and alienated, separate. The repetitious routines of mundane ways go on unceasing. If you form compulsive habits, you cannot get rid of them. So these routines that we've developed to do the same thing over and over and over and over again, very repetitively, are unceasing. It never ends. If you form compulsive habits, you cannot get rid of them. So do not form them. Do not form compulsive habits. The reasons for flowing in the waves of birth and death and all the suffering that goes with it all come from arbitrary production of schemes for control. The reasons for flowing in the waves of suffering all come from arbitrary production of schemes for control. The body is fundamentally empty and unreal. When you go back to the bases, who is calculating? Being and non-being can be done on your own. Don't bother figuring with a confused mind. The body of sentient beings is the same as cosmic space. Where can afflictions stay? Just seek nothing at all, and afflictions will naturally fall away. Pao Chi. Okay, so a bit of a Zen twist. So, going to share with everyone in the voice text the documents that we'll be using for our service. It can be helpful to have them in front of you if you want to participate, if you want to follow along. Let's see. So we'll do the 8 precepts and taking refuge. And I put that in voice text for the 8 precepts. And so what is taking refuge? Taking refuge in the Buddha means that you take refuge in the Buddha mind. The Buddha represents your ability to awaken, your ability to enlighten. So in Buddhism, there's no believe in God or believe in Buddha and then maybe you can get enlightened or something like that. The Buddha represents your ability, your possibility. That's what the Buddha represents. That's what a monk represents. Supposed to, the robes at least. Who knows what each individual monk represents, but that's what the robes represent, is that ability to awaken, to end suffering for yourself. And so when you take refuge in the Buddha, you take refuge in your ability to do that. And that's what the Buddha represents. When you take refuge in the Dharma, you are taking refuge in, you are trusting in, you are relying on the teachings, the wisdom teachings that can take you to the other shore, that can deal with suffering. A lot of people don't even know that these teachings exist, unless it's like Western psychology or something. And sure, some of that might be Dharma, might have a truth in it. But when we talk about the Dharma here, we're talking about Buddhist teachings, but also great monks, great teachers that express those Buddhist teachings. And here we know about them, we can access them. So we take refuge in that, in the teachings, rather than our arbitrary distinctions that we come up in our minds. We take refuge in the Dharma. When we take refuge in the Sangha, we are taking refuge in the community of monks. Traditionally, this meant the community of enlightened monks or enlightened beings. What does it mean for us? It means taking refuge in a community of practitioners, well-minded, wholehearted, sincere practitioners who are focusing to embody compassion, wisdom, patience, gentleness. We take refuge in that community rather than the judgments of others or in our own isolation or anything like that, but we take refuge in a community. Okay? The 8 precepts here. So the 8 precepts are, and this is written in Pali, so you can kind of do a chanting with this, and that's energetically, that's kind of nice to be able to do that. And then written in English. So the precept for not killing is quite self-explanatory. The precept for not stealing. The precept of not engaging in sexual activity. Okay, so for this precept, basically it would be a day, or as long as you're able to practice it, of not engaging in sexual activity. So that's a precept you can take to make this more of a practice day. I undertake the precept of not telling lies. That is also to speak harshly. So you undertake the precept to not speak harshly, to not tell any lies. Okay? I undertake the precept of not using intoxicants. That means that for this day, and if we're really Buddhist, if we want to practice being a Buddhist, not participating in intoxicants, alcohol, weed, anything that's just done for the sake of pleasure or to get high or to get drunk, to abstain from that. But at least, especially for this day, this practice day. I undertake the precept of not eating at inappropriate times. You can do this 2 ways. One is to do an intermittent fast. so that you don't eat after noon today. Maybe you just have one meal. That's fine. You can do it that way. But this precept can also be understood as the precept of not overeating. Okay? Taking the precept to not overeat during this day or in general. This is a big one, this next one. I undertake the precept of refraining from dance, song, music, entertainment, jewelry, fragrances, cosmetics, adornments, and self-beautification. We can see some people are heading out when we say not entertaining ourselves. So this is, like I said, this is the 8 precepts are not something that Buddhist people in general follow. It's something that monks follow and that we follow for a day of practice or a day of retreat. So if we were staying at a temple or if we were attending a meditation retreat, these would be the precepts that support us. So if you listen to music, make it Buddhist music today. If you watch YouTube, make it watching Dharma talks from Ajahn Brahm or Thich Nhat Hanh, podcasts, whatever it might be. So that's not entertainment, that's something you're doing for the teachings to bring benefit to your life. Okay? And then finally, the precept of not using high or large beds. So this we can say as over luxuriating is what this precept is talking about. So if you have a hot tub, take a shower today. All right, that would be one way you can do it. Not to over luxuriate. If you have a bed that warms itself and vibrates or something, turn off the vibration function for today. You just don't over luxuriate yourself today, is what that precept is kind of talking about. Okay, so we can try to take these, and you can just take a period of time as long as you're comfortable with to follow these 8 precepts. And that's just one of the practices that we can facilitate, that we can do together in this community. Okay, so how we will do this is that I will say the verse in Pali, and then you repeat it after me. So I'll say Buddham Saranam Gacchami in a certain way, and then you recite that after me. So it's like I say it, and then you take it and repeat it. And you try to say in the same way that I say. Okay? So you can join along as much as you like, or just listen. And first I will pay homage to the Buddha. So I'll do a chanting of Namo Tassa 3 times, and then we'll do the taking refuge. Okay? And you can repeat after me each time. Try to repeat in the same way that I say it. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Buddham saranam gacchami. Dhammam saranam gacchami. Sangam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Dutiyampi sangam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi buddham saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi dhammam saranam gacchami. Tatiyampi sangam saranam gacchami. Now we repeat in English. I take refuge in Buddha. I take refuge in Dhamma. I take refuge in Sangha. A second time, I take refuge in Buddha. A second time, I take refuge in Dhamma. A second time, I take refuge in Sangha. A third time, I take refuge in Buddha. A third time, I take refuge in Dhamma. A third time, I take refuge in Sangha. So we'll now take the precepts. These can be a little bit more difficult to chant, so do your best to repeat after me. If you have it in front of you, that will help a lot. But if not, it's okay. Just try your best. Panatipata Varamani. Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Adinadana Varamani. Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Abramacharya Varamani. Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Musa Vada Varamani. Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Sura Maraya. Maja Pamadatana. Varamani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Vikala Bhujana. Viramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Nacha Gita Vadita. Visuka Dasana. Mala Ganda. Vilepana Dharana. Mandana Vibhusanatana. Viramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Ucha Sayana. Mahasayana. Viramani Sikapadam Samadhiyami. Imani Atta. Sikapadani Samadhiyami. I undertake the precept of not killing. I undertake the precept of not stealing. I undertake the precept of not engaging in sexual activity. I undertake the precept of not telling lies or speaking harshly. I undertake the precept of not using intoxicants. I undertake the precept of not overeating. I undertake the precept of refraining from dance, song, music, entertainment, jewelry, fragrances, cosmetics, adornments, and self-beautification. I undertake these 8 precepts. So having taken these 8 precepts, may you all be well, happy, and peaceful. May these precepts protect and deepen your heart, your practice, your mind. May these precepts support you in living with goodness, virtue, and self-restraint. We'll now finish this taking refuge and precepts ceremony with a chanting from the monk. You can simply listen along. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Itipiso bhagava araham samma sambuddho Vijacharana sampanno sugato lokavidu Anuttaro parisa dhammasarati Sata deva manusanam buddho bhagavati Svakato bhagavata dhammo Sanditiko akaliko ehipasiko panayiko Pachatam veditabo vinuti Supatipanno bhagavato sawaka sango Ujupatipanno bhagavato sawaka sango Nayapatipanno bhagavato sawaka sango Samichipatipanno bhagavato sawaka sango Yadidam Chetari Purisa Yugani Atta Purisa Pugala Esa Bhagavato Sawaka Sango Ahuneyo Pahuneyo Dakineyo Anjali Karaniyo Anuttaram Punyaketam Lokasati Sadu Sadu Sadu. And we can all bow. Okay. So, dear friends, thank you all for joining and sticking with it. I hope you enjoy our group practice today. We will have our regular meeting in about 5 hours from now for our Buddhist book club, for Ajahn Brahm's book, The Art of Disappearing. So I hope to see you there. Does anyone have any question before we finish up?
How are the poopies? Are they okay?
The puppies are good. The puppies that we have here at the temple are healthy and getting fatter by the day. And we're all sending them a lot of goodness and high-minded energy. So I think they're going to continue to grow and be a source of joy and happiness for the world. All right. So the puppies are okay. And I wish that you will all be well, happy, and peaceful as well. Okay? Take care. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone.